Welcome to another edition of the Flex Rental Solutions how-to video. Today we're going to be going over some workflow review and a specific use case scenario that came up recently in some on-site training. Recently, when doing some on-site training with the customer, they had some jobs that they did quite often. They're in the festival industry and they had 4 or 5 festival package setups that they do lights, audio, video, staging, that they do quotes for multiple times a day, that they start out with basically the same generic gear. And these were a little bit more in-depth than just a virtual package of this is how many speakers go out with this project. It was lights, audio, video, and everything. And what they wanted was to be able to create a template for these items. And part of the requirements were we didn't want anybody to change these templates unless they wanted them to, and they needed to search for them very quickly. So with that information, we did some brainstorming and came up with a fairly elegant solution for them. What we want to do is create a new status in a workflow state called template that was locked, that only certain people could unlock, and then create a workflow for their quotes that they could change a status of a job to a template type and then be able to search for those template types. So we're going to walk through that process on how we set it up for them to give you a little bit of background and show you it in action, and this might be a functionality that might be helpful for your company. So to do this, we're going to start by creating the status of template, and then we're also going to lock it. So under System Settings, Status Options, we're going to create a new status and we're going to call it template. We're going to make sure that this doesn't create conflicts. We don't want it closed, we want it open, but it should be locked, and we'll put everything else as no and give it a background color. So those are the settings that I'd create for a template, and hit create. So the second thing we're going to do is going to go to Projects and Workflow, and we're going to open up the quote workflow, and we are going to add a new state. And this state will be called template also, and the status, this is what will give it its attributes of being locked and not creating conflicts. So we're going to have template, and we'll hit create. So now what we're going to do is we're going to update our workflow from the inquiry state to be able to put it into a template and then take it back out. So we're going to create a new workflow state. Oh, I'm sorry, not a new workflow state. We're going to add a new workflow action, and we're going to call it mark as template. We won't need a confirmation that we're moving it from inquiry to template, and that's all we're going to do. So now we have a workflow state that will leave inquiry and go into a template state. We are going to add another workflow action called unlock for changes. Again, we don't need the confirmation. And this time we'll take it out of template and we'll return it back into inquiry. And what we might want to do is say who should be able to unlock it. Should everyone be able to unlock it? If so, we will allow anyone and nothing will be selected. Or we could say only administrators can unlock it, and we'd hit add and update. So if you want to see who can unlock it, you would use the execution group. With nothing selected, everyone can unlock it. With one or more groups enabled, then only they will be able to see the unlock for changes. And we'll just leave that off for now. Finally, under Projects, Project Elements, and Quotes, we are going to enable that new status. So we're going to open Status Options and assign a template to status to the project of quotes and hit update. So I'm going to start a new quote, and we may want to call this Festival Package A. We're going to make up just some generic dates and times. Going to leave the client and everything else blank because that'll be filled in once we copy this element. So we want this original template to not have any clients or anything. This will be a blank template. So from here, we can add some inventory. Let's see what's in there. So we'll put in just a couple items just to give you a quick example. Now, if this was your package, we have a new workflow state called Mark as Template. What this will do is it will lock this document. So anyone who goes and finds this can't change it. They will need to go and copy it, and they'll call it Dallas Live Festival Show. And when they copy that, they can then go in and update the client and put all the information, maybe change one item or update another, but we have not modified the original template. It is a locked template. If we need to make changes, the only workflow out of there is unlock for changes, and based on whether you put a security permission or not, that will verify who can unlock it. So if we hit unlock for changes, it is now in an unlocked state, and if we needed to, we could mark it back as a template to lock it back up after we've made those changes. Now, one of the nice things also is if we go to projects and quotes, is we can look for specific statuses that are templates. So looks like we can select this and say, I'm just looking for all of my templates. And now we could search for all these, select them, and copy them. So with these requirements, we were able to put together a workflow that allowed them to lock up specific jobs as packages or as templates, and allowed them to copy them and create them for every other show that they use. So now they don't have to recreate a new quote every time they put together Festival Package A. If you have any questions, please contact support at flexrentalsolutions.com. Thanks.